But tonight, in addition to having Kevin Jackson here, we have another special treat. Our speaker is going to be, he's getting interviewed, right now you hear my KSFO being interviewed by Brian Sussman every week. And Brian has appeared here 2 times as a speaker. And he also, he was the first speaker we had in this facility, and he also holds the record for the largest event. So Brian is going to introduce Kevin Jackson. Brian Sussman.
Thank you for making our radio station so awesomely successful. Thank you for making our morning show highest ratings we've ever seen. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you from Melanie Morgan. Thank you from Katie Green. I mean, guys, it's just, we're living a dream. It's really great. Can I don't have a lot of time. You want to hear KJ. I want to hear KJ. But I have to comment on our 3 speakers that came up to the mic prior. Mimi Steele, I love Mimi Steele. What Mimi didn't tell you is the judge that ruled in that Drake's Bay case. The judge is married to a guy who works for the Obama administration, and it's the Obama administration that's closing this Drake's Bay oyster farm down. Okay, anybody see any problems with this? Okay, then the next speaker talked about the great experiment. You want to know what the greatest experiment of all time has been? And it's been a disaster. It's when a Muslim Marxist from Kenya impregnated a socialist from Kansas. Okay? Look what we get, ladies and gentlemen. Barack Hussein Obama. And then Jerry was talking about this education debate. You know, here's the debate. We'll just sum it up 2 sentences. Less condoms, more Constitution, okay? That's all we need. That's it. Now, before I hang up on myself, see, this is why the show's working, okay? This is why the show's working. The advertisers came to me and they said, listen, we have new management, took over a year ago. New management is bottom line capitalist corporation. I love these guys. They said, Sussman, I don't care about anybody else besides the 25 to 54-year-old man. If you can't deliver them, you don't have a job, period. 25 to 50-year-old man can't deliver, no job, okay? So we brought in our secret sauce named Katie Green and spicy Melanie Morgan. And folks, we're delivering, okay? We're delivering the goods. We're going to be around for a while. Thank you very much for your support. We really appreciate it. Kevin and I, prior to this event, we were recalling, okay, how did we get to know each other? Because he's been a weekly guest for the last couple of years now, and he's always been just, he brings it, people enjoy him, I get lots of great feedback, he gets lots of great feedback, and it was one of these serendipitous things that just occurred a couple of years ago, a brief email exchange. I heard a little bit more about him, did some research, I thought, this guy is the real deal. And he needs to have a left coast audience. And now he's got the audience, and it's you. He is a breath of fresh air. He is what conservatism is all about. I hope he is the future of the Republican Party. Once we get rid of guys like Karl Rove, we may have an opportunity. Anyway, you're going to enjoy KJ right now. Please, ladies and gentlemen, give it up to the guy who came all the way out here from the nation's heartland, St. Louis, to be with us, Kevin Jackson.
Thank you, my Negroes. Jerry, you don't mind if I raise this up a little bit, did you? Ni hao ma. Bienvenidos al Salam Alaikum. You take your pick, because your grandchildren could be learning one of these greetings soon, right? Or perhaps they just will forget language altogether since Obama's taking the economy back into the Stone Ages and will just run. Greetings, folks. I am happy to be here, and despite that opening, I am an optimist. Today is actually the beginning of my Don't Jump tour. But I'm also a realist too. You guys have gone from the land of enchantment to the land of enrichment of others. And America re-upped fraudulently on the black president, who I refer to as the anti-Lincoln. And Obama has led America into this new civil war. And it's a war where nobody wins. So my question to you is, how does it feel to be at war with your liberal brother? A brother who is hell-bent on your destruction, your ideological destruction. So just imagine for a second having a nutcase for a brother, and every morning, throughout the night, you wake up and he's got a pillow over your head, and your legs are flailing in the air. That's what you're dealing with. So why would liberals want to ruin America? And I was watching a TV show, and this is my crazy personality, but this is how it came to me when watching this show. So this show was about a woman who was certifiably crazy, which is, of course, liberal. And she was on meds that she would take to balance her out, but she got pregnant, and she got off the meds, thankfully, and that's where the fun begins. So she goes on a elk hunting trip with her husband, and she shot him. Yeah. She then had her dead husband's brother move in with her under the guise that he was going to help around the house. Some of you will understand that later. But in the show that we learned, the shooting was no accident. It was actually a scheme to get this $500,000 in death insurance. It's not life insurance because he doesn't get to enjoy it. But then, to add insult to this tragedy, and that she was indeed carrying on with his brother, and such is liberalism. It's skanky. So believe it or not, these two people were more concerned about their elk meat than they were in getting this guy's body home. This is the truth. You guys think I make stuff up when I'm talking on Brian's show. I give you real life. This is a true story. So, like these two lunatics, liberalism doesn't love. It doesn't know how to love. Liberalism only connives. Liberalism looks to wreak havoc and then have life go on. And these two people thought that their lives were going to be normal. So what? My husband is dead. I still have his brother. So, in case I'm not being clear, liberalism is a mentally disturbed woman who will kill you, then take up with your brother and sit down for a meal of elk. But I have the solution. We got to end identity politics, and I'm going to explain to you how we're going to do that. We're going to make fun of it. So identity politics, folks, is a way for politicians to divide you. Gay or straight, black or white, rich or poor, whatever you are, I guarantee you, you are much more than any of those things. And have you had a situation where you're talking to somebody and then you mention the one thing and their demeanor changed? I know you have. Maybe you told them you own a gun. I hear, you're a gun owner. Maybe you told them you believe in God. What? Or you believe that government should report to the people. I know that's crazy. Or balance its checkbook, or not spend more than it takes in and spend less. All that crazy stuff. Well, one thing in that conversation was all it took. And I know we've all got a story like that. Maybe You mentioned that you didn't vote for Obama. That's the big polarizer there, right? I always find it as amazing as a black conservative when I tell people that I didn't vote for Obama or that I have some idea that doesn't, follow this so-called black think. They get after me. Like I can't be an individual and think my own way. Anyway, I think we're becoming more and more polarized, folks. And when you do find out that somebody is of a political persuasion, you find yourself saying, I don't want to really hang out with them anymore. And I know that over the past few years, I can speak for myself, I have become less tolerant of the left. It's probably just a sign of maturing. But they irk me. I used to tell my grandmother, you vex me. But they irk me in a way that a child would irk me, or the way that a pigeon irks you when it flies over and poops on your jacket. And I know a few liberals, I've spoken to them and hung out with them a little bit, and my attorney said I have to put in a legal disclaimer at this part of my speech that I'm not advocating that you hang out with liberals because you should be with a professional. But in not doing so, folks, the politicians have succeeded. Because their goal is to divide us, and they've done that. I said, and I quit this, I may have said this on Brian's show, that Obama has ruined more relationships than internet porn. Lifelong friends and family don't speak to each other, and if you can't talk to friends and family, well, who's left? Strangers. Because we no longer are debating our positions, folks. We're not cross-pollinating ideas, or I should say even pollinating ideas. It's one-directional. I'm on Fox a lot, and Kirsten Powers just recently was on O'Reilly, and she made the comment that she understands conservatism. I don't know if you guys saw this interview. It was amazing. She said, I grew up as a liberal and a Democrat. I was in a bubble. I never went outside of that bubble. You can't say anything against it. Nobody ever does. And I go to conservatives and we start talking about ideas, and we're very open to ideas. They're the intolerant ones, not us. This is a hardcore liberal chick. She's a good-looking girl. I'm kind of happy she's shifted over because she doesn't deserve to be over there. But anyway, the only time we have these discussions are when politicians can control things. We discuss things in the media. Talking about gun control with liberals? My bet is you're not. They just get the media hype. They get sound bites. You'll discuss it with people that you like. Me and one of the guys here, we were just talking about guns. No fisticuffs, no gang signs. Nothing. We were just talking about guns, having a good time. But you won't talk about gun control with liberals. And so they're being told and they're being sold by the leftists, by the media. We have a problem, folks, and I'm going to put it to you this way. You have to understand problems in the proper context. And our problem is that we think that the wife of Henry VIII died because her head fell off. There's more to it. Just recently, Beyonce spent $200,000 on the birthday of a 1-year-old. You guys aware of that? The child won't even remember this party, won't care about watching the video of it when she's 20, won't care, the made-for-TV movie, nothing. That kid will not care about this at all. And they waste $200,000 on a 1-year-old's birthday party. They think they're in touch. Beyonce is good friends with Obama, and he sees her life of extravagance and believes that that's how we all live. I'm going to share a secret with you. It's a family secret. If anybody in my family threw a $200,000 party for a 1-year-old, we'd kick the crap out of them. Don't let anybody know that. I don't want that on the camera. But it is true. Fact of the matter is, folks, we've got incompetent people running our lives. And the ones who aren't incompetent don't do a good job of representing you. Republicans raised the debt ceiling without even fighting. We're at a point now that they don't even bother to fight. At least that's how I feel. Are we really that irrelevant? So I was talking to, we were having dinner, and I was telling Jerry that, you guys heard about this new cell phone regulation? Anybody? If you unlock your cell phone, you go buy the new iPhone or whatever it is, and you unlock it so that you don't have to use Sprint, you want to go to Verizon. Anybody want to guess at what the fine is for that? 5 years in prison and $500,000.
What?
That just, see?
That's not true.
That is,
I unlocked mine with AT&T. That's not true.
that is true. That is
I
absolutely
just did it with my iPhone, sorry.
Hey, let me tell you something. It is true. It happened last Saturday. It was done. I know what I'm talking about. I get paid to do this. You get to sit out there. Let me tell you, I'm not a pacifist. I don't have 4 black belts because I'm a punk. Just keep it down. I know what I'm talking about. You will get a 5-year prison sentence and a $500,000 fine for unlocking your cell phones, and you can take it to the bank. Now the question you should be asking yourself is, why? Do you realize that there are people that commit heinous crimes that won't serve a fraction of that or get any type of a penalty, but your legislators have decided that unlocking a cell phone, it must be nuclear. It's amazing. 2013, time flies when you have your guns, folks. Because when you have your gun, you have your life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. That's the only thing that's stopping you, that's keeping you. You better understand that. And if you didn't have your guns, you would not be pursuing happiness. If you're happy with the government right now, you would be massively out of touch. I heard John Leguizamo say he wanted more government. You know, one of these Holly weirdos. He doesn't see where government is intrusive. That just shows you the bubble in which these people live in. You know, everything, practically when you find yourself, frowning over something, you can bet government's involved. You've been to the DMV, or, your IRS sent you a letter, or whatever. You can be careful, or you got a ticket for something that ridiculous, or you found out about some new tax. In Illinois, right now, they want to raise revenue, to quote Howard, for the kids. And they're going to tax tennis shoes 25 cents. Who sits around? What can we tax? Tennis shoes. Okay, good idea. That's how these people are. It's amazing to me. Maybe you were into your 75-watt light bulbs, or you liked flushing more than once with the old toilets. Government is just so intrusive. They are looking at all these little minutia things that they shouldn't be involved in, but they won't pass a budget. They're spending $16 trillion plus with a $1 trillion deficit, and nobody seems to care. Obama says along with his 2% he's added to Social Security, he said before the Super Bowl, nice timing, he's still not done with you. What will be left after California's through with you? Just think about, folks, everything you're required to do by the government. Renewing licenses, paying personal property taxes, filing to get your own money back, most of the time when you file your income taxes. And one that's really irked me, and it's just because of my mind, I'm just crazy to think about stuff like this, but why do you have to register a new car? Shouldn't it already be registered now? And why does it have to pass emissions every year? It's new. I can see it if your car is 20 years old. You say every car that's over 20 years old must pass emissions. A car that's 2 years old isn't having emissions. I mean, unless it's government motors, but then I stand corrected. Anyway, imagine what the government's doing to you right now, and 84 million of you have weapons. 300 million weapons in the possession of 84 million people, and the government is still kicking you in the crotch every morning. Something to think about. Imagine what they're going to do to you when you're unarmed. So how long is it going to last? Are you confident that you're going to have your guns in 10 years?
No.
Will your children have guns?
No.
Did you even think growing up, I mean, I think about this, because I grew up in the country, and we'll talk about this a little bit in Q&A, but I can't even imagine, when I was growing up on a big cattle ranch, and we fished and hunted and everything every day, that we would be fighting to keep constitutional rights, basic rights, freedom of speech. You think you have freedom of speech?
No. I do not.
White people, you don't have freedom of speech. I have freedom of speech. That's right, crackers. Yeah, look, you don't have freedom of speech. You're so afraid to say black, African American. That cracked me up with that. Anyway, you're here in this place where, you know, a little marker that says bingo, and you don't even know how you got here. It's like you just, you know, you're driving and you get to work and somebody says, oh, remember, did you see the wreck? I didn't see it. I was oblivious. That's where we are. We've defeated the Germans, we've defeated the Japanese, and a host of others who have wanted to take your freedoms away, our freedoms away. And our biggest enemy, our most formidable foe, turns out to be a bunch of caviar-eating, cocktail-sipping, anti-American, anti-military, anti-God sissies from the California suburbs, folks. That's who our enemy is. Liberalism is worse than mad cow disease. It is, and it's communicable. That means you can pass it along. In case there's a couple of liberals in the audience, wink, wink. Colin Powell caught it. There was a hint. Colin Powell said there's a dark vein of intolerance in the Republican Party. It's tough for me to say that without laughing. When you consider that it was a white Republican that made him the highest ranking black guy in the history of politics. It's a disease. It's a disease. I don't even know what that fool was talking about. My first thought was, this Negro has lost his mind. So we can spend time wondering how it happened, or we can work on solutions. But, you know, I look at our America, where we are in the world, and I ask myself, with all the marketing that we have in this country, the power of Madison Avenue, and with Hollywood America out there just selling everything, you know, they will repeat a movie 50 times and you make you want to go see it, you know. Gone with the Wind, it's coming back. Oh, have we seen it? Yeah, we've seen it. Let's go see it again, honey. Because they sell it. But how is it that we've failed to sell what America is outside of this country? I mean, you think about the amount of money that we give away. I was doing a show about, I get curious about this kind of stuff, so I was like pulling all these stats on how much money do we give these countries? It would blow your mind. I mean, I don't have the numbers here, and I wouldn't bore you with the details, but we give money to everybody. Money we don't even have. I mean, I'd like a relative like that. Actually, I got an uncle like that. He's a bank robber. And long story. Couldn't use the money. But yeah, so liberals, America's got bases over here, they got bases over there, and you're oppressing people. You know, look, if America is in anybody's land, I can promise you this, the spot is better. It's just the truth. When I visit France, I think the stock market goes up over there. Same thing with you, you just don't notice. So why can't we sell the real America, folks? The one that conservatives represent. The America that foreigners leave their families, leave their entire existence to come to. They do it every day. And these people rushed across our borders. It was, it's terrible over here. But meanwhile, Mexicans are just at the ready, you know. They're like, if it's so bad, man, you come over here. You kidding? And it's because, folks, liberals refuse to sell what we see and what we believe. They don't sell that. They sell a whole different thing. I mean, think about this. Would you put John Kerry in charge of America's marketing department? That's what the State Department is, in case you haven't really thought about it in business terms. It's your marketing department. And you got a guy that hates the country. And it's like a guy selling a product. Well, it's a vacuum cleaner. I mean, our vacuum cleaner sucks. He's at the door here. You want to let me in? I mean, you don't have to let me in because my vacuum cleaner really sucks. But I don't think it'll pick anything up in your house. But, you know, I got to sell it. You've been fired, Kerry, from Kirby.